Shalom, shalom. It is July 31st, 2025. It is 10:26 a.m. I did a live yesterday and I had to delete that live because I was all over the place. I was all over the place yesterday. So I will be editing that video and re-uploading it soon, hopefully by the end of today. If not by the end of today, definitely by the end of this weekend. I will be uploading that live that I did yesterday after I edit it. So yeah, that will be available for those of you who had the opportunity to view it for the initial recording of it. Today's topic is I know I'm called. Flex. I know I'm called. Flex. I know a lot of you have heard many people say, I know I'm called. I know I'm called to be a pastor. I know I'm called to be a minister. I know I'm called to be a the youth minister. I know I'm called to sing in the choir. I know I'm called to lead. I know I'm called to be the head and not the tail. I know I'm called to do this ministry. I know I'm called to do whatever it is that they're doing, right? And it always amazed me, even when I was in the church, when they would say that. People would say that with such boldness and such pride and such arrogance and just like beating their chest. And I always used to wonder, why are you boasting about being called, especially after they recite the famous quote, for many are called but few are chosen. And I used to always wonder, why are y'all so proud to be called? Everybody is called, or many is called but only few are chosen. And it's like, when you choose to say you chosen, wouldn't that be the better option? Wouldn't that be the better option? You have heard, I know I have heard many of pastors talk about their calling. I know I'm called to do this. I know I'm called to do that. And not just pastors, but anybody within any type of religious organization, they always use that phrase and that term, I know I'm called. And again, I always used to wonder, why are y'all flexing about being called? Why when you say you chosen? However, it's funny. It's funny because to me it shows me how much people do not actually study nor read scripture for what it is, and they repeat what others say. We have people who constantly repeat what others say instead of studying the thing out for themselves and allowing the truth to be the truth. Because according to scripture, everybody is called. Everybody is called. So when we say that we are called to do something, that does not mean that we were chosen to do it. Yes, you have been called. All of us have been called. But that does not mean you've been chosen. And not only that, but then to use that scripture to support them doing whatever it is that they're doing, to validate whatever that they're doing or choosing to do, they're misinterpreting the scripture altogether, because the scripture really doesn't have anything to do with what you're doing as far as your position or your title or your ministry or the work that you're doing out in the world. It has nothing really to do with that. And so it amazes me. Hey, cuz, I see you. Good to see you. It amazes me that people always say that phrase as if that's validation enough for others to listen to them, or for others to follow them, or for others to trust them in some kind of way, and or give them respect because they are called. It amazes me because it's just like bragging that It's like bragging that you were invited to get into the VIP section at a party, right? Oh, I got VIP tickets. I got VIP tickets. I got an invitation to go to the VIP section. Then you show up and you get turned down because I don't know where that VIP ticket came from. I don't know that person. I don't know them. You know what I'm saying? So it amazes me. It amazes me how much we flex about being called. It really does. It amazes me how much we flex about being called. I want to turn to the scripture so that we can see exactly what the scripture says. So we can see exactly what the scripture says, right? So we're going to start at Matthew chapter 22, and we're not going to make this long. And this is the parable. This is the parable about the marriage feast, right? And we're going to read verses 1 down to 14. All the way down to 14. So we can get some understanding about this whole call thing. Because people wear this I am called like a badge of honor. Hey, Gerald. How you doing, cuz? People wear this I'm called like a badge of honor. And we're all called. We're all called. So it's not an honor to be called. It's only an honor when you're chosen. It's only an honor when you're chosen. So here it is, Matthew chapter 22, verses 1 through 14. And Yahushua answered and spake unto them again by parables and said, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king which made a marriage for his son. So the king in heaven is preparing a marriage for his son. And the king sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. So the king sent forth his servants to call those who were invited initially. Those who were invited initially to come to the marriage for his son, he's telling his servants to go and get them, bring them to the wedding. But they would not come. Again he sent forth other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, Behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. He's telling them again. For the second time, he's letting them know, look, I got this big feast. This wedding is on way. Come on, y'all. Get on board. Get on. Let's be on time. He sent them twice. And what did they do? But they made light of it. They made light of it. They didn't even think much of it. Oh, so the king invited us to come and be a part of his son's wedding. And they didn't think much of it. And they went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. So now think about this. So the king sent his servants twice to go and get the people who was already invited to come to the wedding. And they didn't think about it. They didn't think much about the wedding. They didn't think much about the fact that they got an invitation from the king. That is an honor in itself to be invited, right? Just to be invited is an honor. But they acted like it wasn't nothing. And then on top of that, they slew the servants. They slew the servants as well. Come on now. But when the king heard thereof, he was mad, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. So think about that. He didn't just kill the murderers, but he burned up their city. So that goes to show you how many murderers there was. A whole city full. A whole city full. So pretty much everybody who he had invited rejected his invitation. And then he said he went and he killed them all and burned down their cities. He destroyed everything about them that they had. Think about how serious that is, to destroy a whole city. A whole city. He killed everybody because all of them was invited, but none of them accepted. Continue on. Then said he to his servants, The wedding is ready, but they which are bidden were not worthy. Those who I invited were not even worthy for me to invite them. They weren't even worthy, because if they were worthy, they would have came. Because I don't know about y'all. I don't know about y'all. But where I'm from, When you get an invitation from somebody who is of high prestige, especially like a king in today's time, regardless of how you feel about the president that we have now, but if you had the opportunity to get an invitation from, let's say, the president that you like the most, whoever that was or is, if you had an invitation from the president, would you decline to go and be at his not royal, but his son's wedding if he sent you an invitation? I mean, I don't even like Beyonce. And when I say that like I'm not a fan. I don't hate the woman, but I'm not a fan, right? I'm not a fan of hers. But I'm pretty sure, then again, no, I wouldn't. I'd be lying if I said that. I was going to give that example, but I'm pretty sure I would decline. But what I was going to say was, if Beyonce was to send me an invitation to Blue Ivy's, let's say, graduation, I would probably go. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say marriage at first, but I would probably go. Most of you, in which that was the example, but I can tell you now I'll decline. Me personally. Just saying, me personally. But most of you, if you receive an invitation from Beyonce to attend anything that she's got, be it a concert, her daughter's wedding, her daughter's graduation, her daughter's birthday party, her daughter's anything, you would jump at the opportunity to go. So here it is, the king is inviting these people to come and be a part of his son's wedding. No one would, in normal situations, would decline that. But these people did. They didn't see no big thing about it. Okay, continuing on. Y'all get the picture. I'm not going to keep beating on that. Okay, so he said to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as you shall find, bid to the marriage. So now go and invite anybody that you can find. Go and invite anybody that you can find. Go and invite anybody. Why is he willing to allow anybody to come to the wedding? Because can you imagine, as the king, inviting all of these people and nobody shows up to your son's wedding? How is that even? It don't even make sense. Like, who would decline the king's offer to be a part of a wedding? You don't have to do anything but show up. Present yourself like you should and show up. You get to eat the best of everything because the king is throwing it, so you know you're going to have good food, good drinks, good music. The atmosphere is going to be set up like you probably never had seen before. So somebody to go through all of this planning, all of this preparation, all of this putting together, you will want somebody to be a part of it. I don't know about any of y'all, but it has been times in the past where I have hosted events and I put forth my money, I put forth my time, I put forth my efforts, and I invited folks. And when the day came, nobody really showed up. So I spent all this money to cater to the people that I invited, and nobody showed up. Do you know how disheartening that is? For you to invite people that you feel would love to be in the mix, or that you would love to have in the mix. People that you love, people that you enjoy being around, people who you thought you had a connection with. Only thing they have to do is show up. You're not asking for money. You're not asking for a ride. You're not asking for them to bring anything. You're not doing any of that. Only thing you're saying is show up. I got you. Just show up. I got the food. I got the drinks. I got the music. I got everything that you will want and or need. Just show up. And they don't come. That's not a good situation. Not a good place to be. So when you see that the people who you invited and that you really wanted to come don't show up, now you're willing to just let anybody come because you got all this food, you got all this drinks, you got all this music. You can't eat it all yourself. You can't drink it all yourself. It's going to go bad. It's going to go to waste. So now you're willing to let anybody who want to come. This is what is the story of the relationship with the Most High and his chosen people. That's the whole breakdown of this. This is the story of the Most High and his chosen people. His chosen people had the invitation to come before him and his son to the marriage feast. They had the invitation first, but they rejected it, right? I might begin to look ahead of myself. So let me try to stick to the script real quick. But at the end of the day, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the story of the Most High and his chosen people, the relationship that he has with them, and how they rejected him. So then he extended the invitation to whomever would come. Continuing on. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good. Listen to that. Both bad and good. They invited anybody, bad and good. Bad and good. It didn't matter. The Most High invited them all. And the wedding was furnished with guests. It was furnished with who? Guests. They weren't being married to. They were their guests. Pay attention to that because that's important. Those who had got the extension of the invitation were guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, Friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Think about that. Think about that. You're going to the king, regardless of if you're good or bad. You know you're going to be in the presence of the king and you're going to a wedding ceremony. If you get an invitation in today's time to go to anybody's wedding, you going to, if you don't already know, you're going to ask, what is the dress attire? What is the expectations of my presentation? What do I supposed to come dressed as or like? That's going to be a question that you're going to ask if you don't already know. But for those of us who know wedding etiquette, then you know that you're going to come up, you're going to show up dressed ready, friendly. You know not to do too much for us ladies. We know not to walk, not in today's time, not to wear white. We know not to come in there and have ourselves too glammed up and too done up that we might outstage the bride. We know certain things that we do and don't supposed to do, right? When we are invited to a wedding and we plan to attend. It's called wedding etiquette. So it's no difference here. Just because you're invited does not mean show up however you want. Just because you were extended the invitation does not mean come as you want to come. Just because you have that invitation does not mean come looking any old kind of way. But here's a man who did not have on a wedding garment. He knew better. Everybody else knew better. But he felt like I was invited. I was called. I was summoned. So therefore, I can just show up however I want. I was called. So I can just come on. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. I was called. So I was called to be a pastor. No, it don't work like that. There are still instructions that you need to follow. There's still a set of guidelines that you still supposed to do. There's things that you supposed to adhere to before you can even obtain certain positions, titles, and all of this, right? But here you go. You got this man. He just said, well, shoot, I'm called, so I'm going to show up. I'm called, so I'm going to show up without any thought for how he looked. Well, I got an invitation. Well, I got a call. Well, I was invited. Okay. So let's see what happens for him. Let's see what happens for him. And he said unto him, Friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. You know why he was speechless? Because when you know that you are wrong and somebody calls you out on your wrong, For the ones of us who are smart, we don't have nothing else to say. We don't have nothing to say. There's nothing to say. So you become speechless. When somebody call you out on a wrong and you already know that you're wrong, there's nothing you can say to justify why you are how you are. There's nothing you can say to justify your actions. So he was speechless because he knew he was wrong. He knew he was wrong. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. This right here is talking about those who show up, who just because they were called, they think that they are accepted. Just because they were invited, they think that they are accepted. These are those people who think just because they profess and they have faith that they can just show up and they are accepted. This is when Yahushua say, depart from me, I never knew you. Because if you knew me, you would know better than to show up here how you showed up. You would know better than to come before me looking the way you looking. You would know better than to come before me unprepared. You would know better to come before me unrepented. You would know better than to come before me and not adhere to the commandments of my Father's instructions. You know better than to just come up here in my face any old kind of way. You cannot just have faith, people. You cannot just have faith. You cannot just say, I'm called. You cannot beat your chest because you got a call. However, in today's time, that's what we hear a lot of people say. I'm called to do this. I'm called to this ministry. I'm called to be a prophetess. I'm called to be a prophet. I'm called to be a such and such and such. You call, but you're not chosen. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. You see how many people he called? You see how many people he had called to this wedding? He called a lot. The first group of people that he really wanted to come, they declined. They declined his invitation, and he rejected them, and he utterly destroyed them. Destroyed them, destroyed their cities. Then he extended the invitation to everybody else. And those, they showed up. But then amongst those who showed up was one who shouldn't have. He should have stayed wherever he was. He shouldn't have even thought about coming to the wedding. But he thought he can mingle in and mix in and not be seen. But he was seen and he was called out. And what happened to him? He got cast out into the outer darkness. That's what happened. Why? For many are called, but few are chosen. We keep talking about I'm called, I'm called, I'm called. And the person next to you is called too. The person in front of you is called too. The person behind you is called too. Everybody is called. But you think because you are called and you hold a certain position, a certain title, or you work in the ministry, that means something. I have heard it so many times, and I know y'all have too. And they will recite this and still say, I'm called. And I always used to scratch my head and be like, but shouldn't you be chosen? I used to always scratch my head at that and be like, you saying you called, and you know you called, and then you say, for many are called, but few are chosen. I used to wonder, like, that didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me because it clearly, y'all know the rule of the word but. Whenever you use the word but in a sentence, anything that was before that but don't matter. It don't matter. So when you read this, for many are called, but means that don't matter. It don't matter that many are called. Why? Because few are chosen. It don't matter if 100 people got an invitation to come. And let's say 50 people showed up. 50 people showed up. Out of those 50, only 10 came correct. The 10 will be chosen. Everybody else is obsolete. Everybody else is obsolete. To add more understanding to this, let's let scripture continue to tell us. So we're going to go to Luke. We're going to go to Luke chapter 14. We're going to go to Luke chapter 14, and I'm going to start at verse 15, and we're going to go down. We're going to go down to verse 24. And let's see what Luke says about this. And when one of them that sat at meat with him, talking about Yahushua, heard these things, he said unto him, Blessed is he that shall eat bread in the kingdom of the Most High. Listen to that. Blessed is he that shall eat bread in the kingdom of the Most High. Then said he unto him, A certain man made a great supper and bade many. A certain man made a great supper and bade many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready. And he sent his servant, I already read that, sorry. And they all, with one consent, began to make excuses. All that he had already invited, they started making excuses. For the first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee, have me excused. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee, have me excused. So they are looking for an excuse to be excused from not doing what the Most High has instructed them to do. That's what they're doing. They're making excuses for not doing what the Most High has instructed them to do. Even though we're talking about coming to a dinner, and earlier talking about coming to the feast for the wedding, it's the same thing. Same thing. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. Remember the other day? For those of you who watched the video, and I talked about how when you, the custom of the Israelites was when you get married, that first year, you and your spouse don't do anything. Y'all stay at home. Even the community chips in and they take care of all of your needs. They take care of your food. They take care of your gardening. They take care of whatever it is you and your household need. That was their custom. So this person is saying, I just married my wife, and therefore I cannot come. So they're coming up with all these excuses for not coming. So that servant came and showed his lords these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind. And the servant said, Master, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. So even though they went out and they invited and allowed all of these poor, lame, blind, and maimed people and the halt people come in, it was still room. It was still room left. Why was it still room left? Because many are called, but few are chosen. Still space left. Continuing on. Where did I go? And yet there is room. And the master said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. Really tell these people, you missing out. Like, you need to sell this thing to these people. You need to sell it to them. You need to really put forth the effort to get their attention and to make them realize how much they should be at this supper. This is how important it is that they come and be in my presence and come in and eat bread with me, break bread with me. This is how important it is for them to follow my instructions, is what the Most High is saying. Go out there and compel these people. Really explain it, break it down to them, show them what is going to happen to them if they don't. Show them what's going to happen to them if they don't. For I say unto you that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. Okay, so none of them people who were called shall taste my supper. So everybody want to talk about how much they called. Everybody want to talk about how much, I know I'm called. I know God called me. I know I was called to do this ministry. I know I was called to preach and to teach. And I know I was called to be a prophet. I know I was called to be a prophetess. All of this. And he said that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. Why? Because they won't follow instructions. We just want to be called. Okay, you got an invitation. Are you going to accept the invitation? And then once you accept the invitation, are you going to follow the instructions? Because even if you accept the invitation, if you show up any kind of way, you're going to get rejected. So there's more to just being called. There's more to it than just accepting the invitation. You have to follow instructions. Don't you show up to my wedding any old kind of way. Don't you show up to my house for this supper that I put all this money into looking like a hag. Don't come to my house without following the instructions. I said when you come to my door, you take the shoes off. If you feel like you could come to my house and change my rules, it don't work like that. It does not work like that. If you go to somebody's house, you respect the house rules. We want to go into the kingdom of the Most High. We have to respect his rules. We have to respect his laws. We have to respect his instructions. It's that simple, people. It's really that simple. I've seen this clip several times, different clips, where people who don't like dogs go to somebody else's house who has a dog, and they say, when I come to your house, you need to put your dog up. And people like, no, because my dog live here. My dog live here. What I look like putting my dog up because you come to my house? Don't come to my house. If you scared of dogs, if you don't like dogs, if you don't want to be touched by a dog, if you don't want to be licked by a dog, if you don't nothing dog, and you know I have a dog or dogs at my house, don't come to my house. It's really that simple. But people feel like because they are who they are, they can show up to your house and demand whatever it is to make them comfortable. Where do we get that idea from? My house, my rules. If you don't like my rules, don't come to my house. If you don't like the rules of the Most High kingdom, then you won't be accepted into his kingdom. Do you see what happened to the man who came to the wedding? He wasn't dressed in wedding garment. He got kicked out. That's how it is with the Most High's kingdom. Show up any kind of way if you want to. Who's just going to say, I don't know you. Get out of here. Go ahead. Go ahead. Kick rocks. I don't know you. Get them. Get them. But y'all want to keep bragging about being called. Y'all keep flexing about being called. Nah, you ain't in there yet. You're not in there yet. You're not chosen. Yeah, have you been chosen? You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know until Judgment Day. And the only way to make sure that you are chosen is to make sure that you follow his instructions. Make sure you follow his instructions. That's the only way that you can guarantee that you get in. Follow his instructions. And then pray. Pray that you held up your end the way that he expected you to. Make sure that you didn't reject anything that he told you to do. So, we keep like, oh, we really love this whole I'm called. I hear it all the time. I have heard it all the time. I know a lot of you have heard it. Some of you have said it. I know I've said it before. But are you chosen? Were you chosen? Stop flexing about being called. Because it's not a flex. It's not a flex. It ain't nothing to beat your chest about. It's not. Because everybody is called. Everybody has been called. The invitation has gone out to everybody, y'all. The invitation has gone out to everybody. It don't make you special because you called. And just because you say it with such conviction, don't change the fact that guess what? The guy over there who ain't got a mic, who don't have a platform, who's not preaching, who's not teaching, who don't have no education, who don't have the job like you got, who don't have the degrees that you have, who don't have the title that you got, they were called too. He was called too. Everybody's called. Everybody's called. But there are steps now. There are steps to the calling. You have to accept the invitation, and then you have to show up accordingly. You have to show up according to the instructions, y'all. Don't come to this wedding and you don't have on your wedding garment. What's your wedding garment? Following the instructions of the Most High. Having fruits of works, did I say that right? Knowing that you putting forth the works that produce fruit. Let me put it like that. Yeah, I think I said it all that I need to say. I think I said all that I need to say. Let me make sure. Let me run back through here. Make sure I said everything I needed to say. Because we be swearing out, that being called is a badge of honor. It's a badge of honor. Just like we swear out being a Christian is a badge of honor. Woo, being a Christian and being called, two badges of honors. We have a lot of people running around here showcasing and broadcasting and uplifting, and neither one of them don't mean nothing. Neither one of them don't mean nothing. Don't mean a thing. And just to make sure that we all understand, I'm going to look up the word bidden. Just for PT. Just for PT. And again, I'm using the Blue Letter Bible, and I'm looking up the word bidden. And according to Strong's Dictionary, number G2564, the definition of bidden means to call. To call. To call aloud, utter in a loud voice. To invite. To call by name. To give a name to. To receive the name of. Receive as a name. To give some name to one. Call his name. To be called. To bear a name or title among men. To salute one by name. So, again, y'all talking about your call. Your call. I was chosen by God. I was called by God. Fine. Great. All of us was. All of us was called by the Most High. That don't mean nothing. Did you accept the invitation? And did you line yourself up with the instructions of the invitation? Because like I said, show up to my house if you want to, and think that my rules that I have set for my house don't apply to you, and you're going to get an invite outside. You're not going to be here long if you think you can come to my house and do what you want to do. There's no difference in the kingdom of the Most High. What makes you think that the creator of everything and anything is going to allow you to come into his kingdom any old kind of way? There's house rules, y'all. There's an entrance fee. You know what it is? Being righteous. You know how you become righteous? By following his instructions. It's that simple. It's really that simple. So, yeah. I think I've said everything I need to say this go round. Y'all have a wonderful Thursday.